Hey guys, Mr. Anstead here. I'm just putting on a little video to go over a little bit about part two of the culminating and just to give a little more information to maybe help out some possible questions that might arise. So, part two dealt with the influences on health and wellness. And so, this whole course is basically about factors that influence our wellness and health in different ways. Um, right from the beginning. I mean, the whole course deals with the personal, social, environmental factors that we talk or that we deal with, and we go through all of those. And so we start at the beginning in like week 3 with heredity, and we talked about the coping skills and positive sense of self and healthy relationships, and you even ranked those in a little homework assignment from most important to least important. So those are all some possible factors that affect health and well-being. Stress, mental health, and resilience was week 4. We talked about that. So that works under the social aspect or under the personal aspect. Under social, we had all those determinants, the social determinants of health, right? uh, Income, housing, food insecurity, all those other things that we talked about. And so those are factors that play a role. Social support, the week after that, in week 6, we had that little kind of Maslow's hierarchy that was revisited with social media icons instead of his triangle. So we talked a bit about that. Environmental with pollution and working environments and learning environments like school. So these are all factors that play a role. So you have to look at those and go back in our course and look at those. Don't just randomly make things up. So look at those and pick 5 that you feel are the most important. And just obviously, when you list it, just give me a brief explanation of what it is. That's number 1. Number 2 is they can have both a positive and negative effect on your health and wellness. So, for example, let's say I chose food insecurity as mine, right? And so um, that's just the ability to not stress, I guess, about within a household about food and where you're going to get your next meal and quality and all this other kind of stuff. And so if I don't have to worry about that, there's some clear positives to that. That's one stress, a huge stress that I don't have to pay attention to. I can start to maybe take more time and look at that, look at the food and start to choose healthier options and research that kind of stuff and dive deeper into my diet. And that helps all those situations out. And so that's clearly a positive in terms of my own personal health, not to mention the less stress of worrying about my next meal, which is a mental health concern. Meanwhile, the negative influence on health that it can have is clearly the increased stress and wondering how I'm going to eat and feed my family, but also not being able to choose the quality, what I'm getting as far as food, maybe skipping meals, how that plays a role in my mental health, my ability to handle things. So if I go to school, for example, and I've skipped 2 meals, uh, my ability to handle things is a lot different than someone who doesn't have to worry about those types of things and whose body isn't trying to make up for those deficiencies, right? So that's all part of it. So that would be the negative aspect of that, the negative influence on health and wellness. In the third part, uh, we want to identify those negatives that you mentioned and what are some ways you can overcome those or improve on those. And so for my example, if the negative is, worrying about your next meal, not getting that meal, or coming to school, let's say after skipping a meal, well, I can say seek out things like, for example, Food and Friends at our school is an option where people can come in and grab some kind of breakfast food in the morning, if they had to miss a meal. So that helps tremendously. Maybe there's certain things in the community that are set up in place for families. Maybe people can do a better job giving to food drives and donating things like that. And then that all helps as well. So you can see the step process there and find listing just 5 factors from the course, positive and negatives, and then if for those negatives, how those can be overcome. And so that's part 2 of your assignment. Okay, so I hope that clears things up just to kind of give you an idea. And good luck. Keep the culminatings coming. Talk to you soon.